everyone, and welcome to PC Talk. I'm your host, Abby Cox, and here I have one of my closest friends and teammates, Gabby Lauder. How are you, Gabby?
I'm doing good, Abby. How are you?
Thank you, I'm good. Well, lots of countries are represented here at Piedmont, and Gabby's interesting background is one of them. When I first met Gabby about 4 years ago, I learned that her mother's side of the family was Cuban and that her father's side of the family was American, which is super cool to me. But Gabby, what part of Cuba is your family from?
They're from the eastern part of Cuba in a town called Camagüey.
Oh, that's super cool. Are there specific foods that are common in that area of Cuba, or is it just a reference kind of thing?
It's more of a reference kind of thing, just because Cuba is so small. There's not really like different parts of the country that have different foods.
Can you describe the taste of Cuba? Like, are the foods spicy? Are they peppery, saucy, or kind of bland?
They're, I would say, more savory. There's a lot of garlic on them. There's a lot of rice and pork in them.
Even though you didn't grow up in Cuba, what types of Cuban foods did you and your family grow up eating here in the United States?
My grandmother actually lives with us, so she would always cook a lot of Cuban food. One of my favorite meals that she would make is her white rice with black beans, and she would take chicken and kind of grill it and put this garlic thing over it. It was really good.
That sounds good. Is that your favorite food, or do you have something else that you prefer?
I also really like Cuban sandwiches. It's ham, pork, pickles, cheese. It's really good.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are really good. I have an eclectic taste of foods, but personally, I can only handle like spicy to a certain extent. Are there a lot of spicy foods in the Cuban culture?
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of people just associate Hispanic foods as spicy, but Cuban food is not spicy at all.
Do you have any recommendations?
One of my favorite things is called ropa vieja, which translates to old clothes, and it's basically just shredded pork. It's really, really good. You should try it. It's kind of like pulled pork, but not barbecue.
Okay. So many families around the world have traditions that are specific Cuban traditions that you and your family enjoy. It could be throughout the holidays or any other type of regular day.
I would say probably one of the most popular traditions that Cuban families do is on Christmas Eve. We'll typically roast a pig. My family doesn't do this, but whenever we go down to Miami and visit my aunts and uncles, we'll do that.
Well, here's a clip of one of our friends, Davis Barlow, explaining what his favorite traditions are that him and his family enjoy from a different part of the world, which is Colombia.
So Davis, do you have any type of favorite Colombian food?
Arepas are one of my favorite things. To explain it to a non-Hispanic, I guess it's like the equivalent of like cornbread, basically. Like not like fried cornbread, like soft bread cornbread. It's really good. I don't really know how to explain it depending on how you make it. I mean, you can bake stuff into it, but that's probably the go-to thing. If you ever go to like a Colombian restaurant, that's what I recommend getting.
Do you eat it with like a meal, or is it kind of like a dessert, or what?
It can be used as a dessert. I mean, if you put chocolate in it, which I personally don't like. I don't think it tastes great, but that can be a dessert, or you can eat it as kind of like you would with cornbread. So like a side item, eat it with corn, peas, and then your actual main course.
Okay. Do you have any traditions that you and your family do over the holidays, or just really any time?
So I'm adopted, and my family is not Colombian. They're from here, but I do have like a Colombian family that I like hang out with, and just thinking of traditions, the World Cup's coming up, and that's huge in Colombia. And so I'm actually going back to Colombia during the World Cup.
That's awesome.
And so they shut down, the city will shut down. I think we play on like July 27th, I think, and the city will shut down. So Bogota will be completely shut down. They'll show the games in the streets. It's just a big party, and if we win, it's insane. So that's probably my favorite tradition that we have.
To wrap things up, do you have anything else you'd like to say about your cultural heritage?
I think Cuban culture is really cool just because of the Cuban embargo that John F. Kennedy did a while back, just because it's very unique to Cuba to have very old cars. It's a very old-timey looking place, so that's one of my favorite things about the look of Cuba.
And sadly, that's all the time we have for today. I'm your host, Abby Cox, and this has been yet another segment of PC Talk. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.